Folks, we're back here on a Monday morning, getting ready to get going. Got us a new dumpster and we're cleaning up around this morning, waiting on our side and package delivery. So hopefully that'll show up here in the next few minutes, and we're going to move on to the reconstruction phase, start putting siding on. Hopefully change the look of this this house. It's been kind of a cleanup process really the whole time we've owned it now, and we're finally kind of over the cleanup and repair. I say over the cleanup and repair. We've still got some cleanup to do, but if you look back at the old video, you realize sometimes how much junk was here and how much cleanup we've really done. Even though it's still, when you pan around, you start going, okay, there's still a lot of stuff that's got to be done. But we're going to get that as we go through the process. Get all the cleanup. We've got some more tires we got to get rid of. Just all kind of crazy stuff. But we're going to get that done. But are kind of excited to get to move on and really change the aesthetics of this house once the siding shows up. And, hopefully get most of the siding on this week, even though this is a 4th of July week, so it's going to be a short week for us. We're going to be off Friday for the 4th, and but hopefully in the next 4 days we can make a pretty big showing and you know, make this house look like something somebody would want. So I'll kind of give you a view of it. We still got some windows that's not here. Got to tape up our seams on our house wrap. Still got a little house wrap to put on. Got some window tape that's got to be put on. Got to get a new front door. But it is looking different. Still, you can see some places it's got to have some sheathing put on, things like that. But hopefully we get all that taken care of. Porches got to have some serious work. But we're to the point now where we can start taking care of all that stuff and get it looking a little more presentable, hopefully. So y'all stay with us. We're gonna man up and build something. Here you can see the guys starting the house wrap on the top floor above the back porch roof here. You know, this is a pretty simple process. You just start by stapling it at the top, and then use your hand to kind of smooth it out and staple the rest of it. Nothing real complicated at all about putting house wrap on. But you can also see that roof there, the old porch roof. It's got that synthetic felt on. That's where we've made some repairs on the roof, and that middle section is where we had tore that deck out and run those rafters. But it'll eventually all get torn off, new synthetic run all the way through, and new shingles. So, but here they are cutting the excess off, getting the last of it stapled, getting ready to start this taping process. So, and here they are, moved around to the side, doing the taping. You know, and this is part of all this now is part of the energy code, house wrap and taping. For 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, you really didn't see house wrap on any houses. So it's kind of a new thing. And then the taping, came along. They used to not tape the seams. Now all that's code. You have to tape all your seams, everything. So, and but here they are getting that done. And it really is like, these products have come a long way, especially like the synthetic felt. It's just so much better of a product than the old 15-pound asphalt or tar felt. It just didn't hold up really well. here the guys are moved around to the front porch, getting those seams taped. And you can see Seth where he's standing there. That's that handicap ramp I was talking about in the first video. Kind of gives you a good view of it and how he had built that thing up into the deck. But we'll eventually tear all that out and make this, you know, deck one flat surface here. But I just thought it was kind of an interesting little feature he stuck in there. Kind of gives you a view of that. And here the guys are starting the siding. This is over the front porch roof here. And what they're doing there is they've got their layouts marked up the wall, and now they're starting to pop the lines for the siding. And you know, we would usually do this before the windows were set, but being these windows were already in when we bought the house, we just worked around that. And what Mario's doing there is he's come down the wall, marking the stud layouts, and then coming back with a level, making a vertical mark up the wall where all those studs are at. So when you come back to nail your siding, you know, the house wrap covers up your nails and your studs so you can't see them. So we go back and mark all them. And then here you see them starting to put on that siding. And if you notice here, this siding is offset on each row, and that's actually a 16-inch offset. And the reason you do that is, you know, as you work to this end out to the other end out here, when you're running the siding, you get to this other end, they can make one measurement, and if your corner boards are plumb, the sawman knows all he has to do is add 16 inches to each of the next pieces to make his cut. So he can lay 4 or 5 pieces up there and let each one stick past each other 16 inches and make one cut, and cut multiple pieces of siding at one time to really speed the process of, you know, putting the siding on up. But something interesting is fixing to happen here. You know, this is kind of an interesting conversation we're fixing to have, so I'll let y'all watch that.
So if we go 39 1/4 to the center, what's that window? 2 foot, 3 foot, extra 35 half. So that is 17 3/4. That means the top of the window right there. Everybody getting crazy. That looks bad, man. Doesn't look bad. It looks horrible. You are a person who does it every day. Little stuff like that, all you people that are buying it's going to look bad for anybody. The point I'm trying to make, the people that are buying this aren't going to look at these windows and go, "Oh, that looks bad." Oh, they are. If they don't, we don't need to fix it. We just tell it like it is, because they ain't going to pay attention to nothing. All right, dude. It's 50 years now. I mean, it looks not about me at all. It looks completely out of bounds. I don't look at it and go, "Oh, that's ugly." And I am 50 years in motion. It should bother you. That's what's bad. When I put that 135 on the high, that's about the high. I mean, that'd be the one that about 21 3/4. All right. Take that hole. Turn the hole in there. That's it. There's a hole. And I know. Take it out. Flop on it. Take it out. Flop on it. Look at that thing. Flop on it. Look at that. Not give me this work. All right, folks. What we got here is windows. I don't like where they're set. Everybody else is fine with it, but they're bothering me. So we're gonna drop them down about probably 18, 20 inches, center or more in this wall.
All right, here you can see us starting that process of dropping those windows down. And you can probably tell by the body language of my help right now, they really didn't like this idea, didn't like me much at this point. Especially if you go back and look while when we were having that discussion. The best way I know to make your help mad is make them tear all the work down they've been doing all morning. But this process really wasn't as bad as it seemed like it was going to be. Fortunately, the headers were up at the top, so all we were really having to do was tear out the seals, cut the cripples off underneath the window, drop those seals down, and then just stick a few cripples over underneath the header and put a seal up there and put a little sheathing on it. Tape everything back up and reset the windows and trim them out, and we were back at it. And, you know, I really felt like this was a necessary thing to do. Those windows being that high and the way the trim were around them, the way the freeze board was hitting into the trim, it looked bad. It didn't look like it's supposed to look. So, you know, I think even the guys after it was done would admit it looked better. And then here you can see with the windows dropped down and reset, trim back around them, the guys putting in the last few pieces of siding here. And you may notice, you know, that missing piece of siding at the bottom. The reason we left that piece of siding out was because the new roof hadn't been on. We wanted to get all the siding run, so we wouldn't stop tromping all over the new roof, especially, you know, in the heat, like as hot as it is right now, to scuff those shingles up pretty bad. So they had to run flashing right there on that wall, do some wall-to-roof flashing there. And so we left that piece of siding off, and we'd come back and put that on once the new roof was on. But there you can see the guys putting on the last few little pieces, and once that's done, you can kind of see what it looked like once the windows were dropped down. And here they are, moved around to one of the gable ends, and there again you see them popping those lines for their siding up the wall. And of course you can see we're still missing those two windows, so we're having to kind of work around that. And this kind of gives you a bird's eye view of what it's like on the scaffold. Guys, you can see there the marks up the wall where we marked all those studs on the outside of the house wraps so the guys can see them. Here we are cutting some of the siding. You see how many pieces we got stacked up there. You try to do multiple cuts at one time. You can cut 5 or 6 pieces as fast as you can cut one. And if you're cutting one piece at a time, the guys are going to be standing there waiting on you a lot.
And another rubber band. We're too poor to buy new guns.
And there after said this little funny comment about the nail gun. We'd actually dropped that nail gun. You know, these things get dropped all the time off those scaffolds, and had broken the little clip, but here they are moved around to the other side, getting the siding run up. And you may notice, like the fascia boards and stuff, they've got some red mud on them, but if you know Georgia red clay, once it gets stained, it don't come off. All that goes away once it's painted. But here they are doing a little half gable, and you can see here on the back, we're almost completely through with the siding. Like a few pieces on that back porch underneath the ceiling there, because we hadn't run that wood ceiling yet, and like a couple of pieces on the other end. And here you see we finally moved around. Gonna fix this back porch deck. And there you can see with the ledger board already against the wall, guys putting in the new floor joists. And you might notice that old band out there on the outside broke like that. We'll eventually replace all that, but the inside band was still good, so we were going ahead and get these floor joists in so we could get this decking down, so we could start to get that ceiling, make putting that ceiling in a whole lot easier than trying to work over that missing section of deck there. Here they are putting in some blocking, and this blocking is so we can run a kind of picture frame. We always picture frame these decks. We'll run a 5/4 board all the way around the outside edge, up each end and down the front. So you don't see the cuts on the ends of the board. Just a much cleaner look. And if you notice out there, they're doing the same thing in the middle. This porch deck right here is 32 foot long, so you got two 16-footers to make this span. And if you try to do it without something in the middle to break them up, you either have to butt them end to end or try to do a minor cut on them. And if you know anything about pressure treated lumber, once it shrinks up, you wind up with big old cracks. Looks just horrible. So we always we'll break them up into sections so we can run a board across the deck right there in the middle, and then we'll butt these decking boards to that. And you notice out here we let these ends just run wild. On the end closest to the camera here, we let those ends run wild. We'll come back once all the decking boards are down. We'll measure back the 4.5 inches we'll pop a line down to there and cut all that so everything's good and straight. You don't have any real choppy looking cuts on these ends when you do that. And there you can see the guys starting to screw all that decking down. We always screw our decks. These deck screws and drill guns and everything's come a long way. And there, I don't know if you noticed, but I was using a board to kind of draw all these boards up together. You have to measure once you start these decks. Decking boards, you have to measure to the wall and keep both ends running straight. So when you get to the end, you usually have a ripped piece, and that ripped piece won't be running out, out of square from one end to the other. So you don't wind up with an inch on one end and 3 inches on the other. You need to measure periodically to the wall and adjust. You may have to open one end up or tighten one end up on your decking boards to keep that final board straight all the way down against the wall. All right, folks, we're back here on the job this morning. Had 3 days of solid rain, so it's kind of a muddy mess. But we're back, and we had our MEP inspection, and actually got failed on all of it. The electrical, we were missing it's arguable where we were missing one or not, but not an outlet beside the heating and air units. There are some on the front porch. It's really within 25 feet, but rather than arguing the point, we just put in another outlet out here next to the heating and air units. Plumbing, didn't realize it, but the plumbers hadn't put water on the line, so that's what we're here doing this morning. We're out here without any running water, so we've got an old well we're having to dip it out of. We'll show you all that here in a minute. Kind of an adventure in itself. And also they were missing a plate here. They had failed to put on a plate, and I failed to see it, so they'd gotten turned down on that, and I'll show you the heat and air, what they got dinged on, which is I don't know if you can see it, but right up there where the dryer vent goes through the wall, they mashed it a little bit, so he dinged them on that, so they're going to have to repair that. Don't know why they put that where they did. As I look at it, it was kind of dumb on them, but they should have just cut the back side of that thing out and run it through the wall, but I guess it was somewhat easier. And we had a vent in the bathroom that that wasn't hooked up, but that was me, because they actually had put it, they actually had it hooked up, but it was in the way when we were running side, and we took it loose, and I moved it over to the left, and it made my pipe too short, and I couldn't hook it up, and I didn't have a piece of pipe, so that really wasn't their fault. Hopefully we're going to get everything taken care of and get the re-inspection out here, get everything passed, and move on with the installation. So that's kind of where we are. I'm going to show you the procedure we're going through here now to get water in the drain lines. We're just taking a bucket. Hold it up here, let them see the bucket. Got a bucket with a weight piece of brick tied to the end of it here. We just got a rope on it. We're just drawing water. Drop her down in there. Let the weight flip the bucket forward so it'll scoop up the water, and then draw her up by hand. Filling up this bucket. I just set it there. Filling up this bucket to, then we towed it upstairs and pour it in the bathtub. Pour it in the bathtub. Take your soap back. Nice clean bath water. So we think this one may actually do it. At least we're hoping. So let's see what happens. We've already done 2, so this will be the 3rd one. And you may be wondering, okay, why don't you have running water? Well, here in this city, it takes 8 months to get a water meter, which is utterly ridiculous. I don't know how they expect you to operate with 8 months on the water meter. We're in a kind of fast growing area, and a lot of the utilities are having a hard time keeping up, but I feel like that's a little extreme. You can see here. We're going to see if that's the last one that we had. And honestly, this job would have been much easier, and I'll show you a little of our ingenuity here. We actually, if you see this piece of duct we've got run here, we run it out the window and around and hooked it to a gutter downspout so that it would fill the bathtub up. But the problem was,
Well, we had rain for 2 days.
yeah, we had 2 days worth of rain, but
When we put that up,
we put that up. The plumbers come by and put the ball plug in the drain lines to stop it up so you can fill it with water. Well, when they done that, the rain stopped. So if we'd have kept getting rain, we wouldn't have towed any up here. We were just gonna let the gutter fill it up for us. A little country boy ingenuity, I guess. All right, folks, I'll kind of give you a view of what's going on today. I've been on the road all day running around, so I haven't been here most of the day, so I haven't got a whole lot of footage. But I'll show you what we have done and what the roofers have done. See, here on the roof, our new roof going on. Tore off the old red roof and putting on a flat. And
The guys have been here all day working while I've been running around on several different jobs. But I'll show you what they've been up to all day. They've got the ceiling and on the porch. Going back up. Do what, Mario? You'll see the black roof there on it. Got our also got all our inspections this morning. Got all that passed. So the installation contractor is supposed to be here on Monday morning. This is a Friday, so he's supposed to be here Monday morning. We'll get the insulation in this thing, get that inspected, and we're gonna be drywall ready.
All right, and here you can see our setup for putting these last few pieces of siding on up in this highest gable end. Our 40-foot ladder wasn't on this job, so we couldn't reach that with the ladders we had here. So we decided to rig up this apparatus. And even though it may look a little sketchy, it's not near as dangerous as it seems. That skid steer has got actually a mechanical lockout on the boom, so that boom can't go down. And that ladder's actually resting, the bottom of that ladder's actually resting against a bar on the back of that bucket on the quick connect, so it can't slide backwards. So it's a lot safer than it looks. And you know, here he is putting up the last few pieces of siding and trim to have all the siding and trim, cornice and fascia, everything on this house. And you know, it's a really good feeling to have that done. He's actually, this next board will be the very last board. To having all that completed and have us pretty much paint ready. And here he is going ahead and caulking all this high stuff while he's up here on this ladder, getting all the stuff that we can't reach from just the ground off the ladders caulked before he comes down. You know, this is already starting some of the paint prep and doing that. There you can see him caulking the seams and the siding, everything. But we hope if you enjoy these videos that you will like and subscribe and maybe even send us a comment. Tell us what we're doing right, tell us what we're doing wrong. We'd like to hear from you and hope to see you next week.